Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome all. Uh, Welcome everybody to my journey. It's so nice to have anyone and everyone watching, wherever you're watching this at, from whenever point or period in time. I want to welcome you. I want to give you a little introduction to this series. My name is Djinn. Very nice to meet you. I'm using this live stream journey to document my progress and document my growth and enlightenment as a human being via art and jewelry and other mediums. Mostly jewelry, though, and this will be a jewelry journey channel, and I will share and document my progress and try to share any advice I have about life or the world or jewelry with you all. I really made this channel because, I have a lot of thoughts, and I feel like a lot of those thoughts could be helpful to other people. Oftentimes, I have told my listening ear or my presence was soothing or calming, and I want to extend that to people outside of my circle so that I may assist or help anybody who needs it. And also, in this art form that I have recently been discovering, jewelry fabrication, I have found a lot of things about myself, and I found many different ways to assist and interpret my own reality through works of art. And I want to interpret my reality to share. So I'm planning to be streaming about every day. The timing is a little sporadic now. I'm very new to live streaming, like blogging. I have another channel, which this first live stream will be uploaded to. Not the channel at the bottom. It is Djinn of the Depths for gaming on YouTube, Djinn of the Depths. But right here is my Instagram. This is Djinn of the Depths, but you have to spell it with the I in front. I know it's kind of confusing. So it's Djinn of the Depths, and that's my Instagram, where I'm planning to upload all my progress and my works. There's not much on there now. I'm planning for a soft launch somewhere in the next year. And here is my YouTube channel. This is the channel that I am planning to upload my videos to. Upload all the videos and really keep all my live streams together. I'm figuring out a lot of things for this live stream, figuring out exactly what needs to be done, figuring out like the technical components. I want to fix the audio, I want to get a better camera, but it's like slow beginnings. So I appreciate everybody who's sticking out with me and working with me. I've had a lot of friends on this journey that have really helped me grow exponentially. Looking back in the last 5 years of my life were all incredible journey and learning experiences. I often talk about making the unconscious conscious. I forgot what quote, who said that quote, but it's been a quote that stuck with me for some time now. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. And I think that's very deep, very powerful. I'm a huge subscriber to fatalism. I really believe that our journeys and our destinies are written. They're written in a book and they're sealed. And on a human scale, because I believe there's so many different scales, and you have to exist and perceive different scales to interpret reality cohesively. And on the human scale, I believe there's nothing you could do about it. Your fate is written, and from the moment begin perceiving in this world, your fate is written. And for a lot of people, that could be a very harrowing concept. Like there's no ability to change the things that are going to happen to you, and I can understand how that could be very scary. But within another plane of perspective and existence, you realize, because like fatalism, your fate being written, all that happens up here, like so far above humanity. These are aspects I believe are close to God, and in that realm, it's unperceivable and incapturable by humans, by humanity. But we can perceive and we can interpret the words of God. Only interpretation, because we can never have the full story. And in that interpretation, seeing that these things being fatalism so high up here with God, we can also interpret the things that are happening in our reality, which we understandably, seemingly have a lot of control of. I talk about fate and how things are written, but I still believe very firmly that that we have full control and power over what we want to do with ourselves. And I could see those things could be like sound oxymoronic, but I really do believe that's the way it works. Like in my existence, in my power, I have seen like just the ability to shape my life in such radical ways. I literally shaping the economic and like philosophical and even physiological components of my life by working on art, working on jewelry every day. And I could see my mind changing. I could see my body changing. I could see my future and my money changing. And seeing all these things changing from an action that I'm able to do, it really gives me a lot of, it gives me a feeling of control. I don't care what control really is. The feeling is good enough. The feeling is so present. And by being conscious in every moment, because there's a lot of my life, there's a lot of my life only recently within like the last year, 2 years. I'm 25 going on 26 now. I'm sorry, I'm 26 going on 27. 98 baby. Only the last few years of my life have I realized, the last year I've been living so unconsciously. And that could be a thing that's bad and is dangerous and like what I'm arguing you shouldn't do. But these unconscious moments, almost like sleepwalking, but led by fate. So it's like I'm unconscious and I'm sleepwalking, but this path that I'm walking is created by fate. It's a pathway created by faith, and I walk it. And I'm never scared. I'm just always, I just always know that fate will take care of me. I feel like I've always had a guardian angel to just watch over every one of my steps. And I do understand a certain amount of that is privilege. I'm very privileged to be living in America. I'm very privileged to be, I had a family, a mother and father who took care of me and provided for me emotionally, economically. You know, they really provided for me. And I know a lot of people don't have everything that I have. And it's harder depending on where you start from. Everybody has a certain starting position, and it could get difficult to be grateful and appreciative and just like completely trust your fate, trust your journey. And I understand how difficult that could be. And I'm very acknowledgeable of my privileges and acknowledgeable of my disprivileges as well. Being non-binary, gender non-confirming, black, male, 5'3", living in America, I'll definitely suffer from a lot of disprivileges. And it's the acknowledgement of the things that keep you down and the things that keep you up, societally, economically, socially, even physiologically. It's about acknowledgement of both of those two things to bring together the most cohesive view of reality, the most cohesive understanding of your journey and your fate as a person. And I believe the more you get in tune with that, the more you get in tune with yourself, the more that your journey will see like it's for you. Because I know a lot of people who are walking the path they're walking, they're just like, I don't feel like I'm doing the right thing. I feel like I'm lost. Like, what am I doing? And that's a very normal feeling as a human at any age, because it's not something that just young people deal with. It's not something that just teenagers deal with. It's not something that everybody deals with. And middle-aged people, really old people, everybody at some time deal with the fact that like I don't know what to do with my life, and I don't know if I'm on the right journey, and it's really hard to tell sometimes. And the things that have helped for me is just reinforcing my practice, reinforcing my body, reinforcing my mind, reinforcing my hobbies. Take inventory. Take inventory every single day. That's stuff like gratitude journals and journaling your progress. Like, take inventory and all the things that you believe are great to your life. Everybody has a list of these things, no matter how pessimistic you are. Everybody has a list of things that they appreciate about their life. Because you have nothing, you literally have nothing you appreciate about your life, then you wouldn't be living. You know, everybody appreciates at least one thing, no matter how many bad things they are. And you know, for me, it's just like I'm alive. I could stand up. I'm awake. I wake up for another day. I could use both of my arms. I could use both of my legs. I have the ability to think coherently and speak. I have the ability to express my thoughts and express my feelings. I have the ability to make change to other people and influence other people's thoughts and other people's feelings and other people's philosophy. And I could go down a very long list, but just those things right there are like so powerful to me. And I understand even those things right there are like not something that everybody has, and I am very understanding of that. And that's why it's like your personal list, your personal goal to take inventory of all the things that are amazing and like you appreciate, you're grateful in your life, and even take inventories of the things that you don't like, that you want to change, you know. But be appreciative of everything. Really be appreciative of everything. That's one of the keys. It's like, because you are the person you are, and whether you become conscious in this moment and make the work to become a better person, or you don't care and you're just going to keep floating, either which are like fine, you know, no wrong way to live life. But whether or not you do that is written by your fate. So you could just use this moment to jumpstart, you know, taking advantage of everything in your life. And that's mainly what I want to do with this channel. Share the lessons that I have every day. Every day I have lessons. I write them down on my phone, just things that pop into my mind. And I want to interpret them and discuss them with myself or with people. If anybody wants to leave a thought in the comments, and I would be so happy to discuss anything, because I really like discussing this with myself. I like discussing it with other people. Sometimes I'm on Discord and I'm talking with random people, discussing my thoughts, discussing like philosophy and concepts. I'll tell you more about that later, but yeah, and I love that discussion, because I believe that discussion really empowers us and platforms that consciousness that I'm talking about. That consciousness is so important, because every moment I believe you should be conscious, and you should live a conscious life in every single moment, every single second, every single nanosecond. And it's really hard. And I've lived my life, like I said, unconsciously, basically all my life. And this last year, where I've been making it like a journey, like making it a promise to be like conscious in every moment, I've seen it been like incredibly beneficial in every single way. Like, I live my life manically in a lot of ways. My lifestyle, my habits can be unsafe at a lot of times. And I still want the full ability to exercise my ability to choose if I want to live a life in an unsafe circumstance or whatnot. But it's the prospect of being conscious lets me more readily and cohesively analyze the dangers that these activities are presenting in my life, and let me better like meter and adjust how I could put them into my life safely. So that's what like being conscious is about. I think it's really important. It's the most important thing to me. And I want to like discuss some more of the quotes that I've written down on my phone. I always go like whenever somewhere and a thought comes to my head, I'll just swipe down. And I'll press like the quick notes. You should like I don't know if you can see it on my phone, it's really bright, but you should you should try it out if you don't have it. At the bottom right hand corner, that little thing that's right here, it's a little quick notes uh, widget. I think it's called a widget, a little quick notes widget. And I think this is like one of the most helpful things you can have on your iPhone, because you're able to just like, as the thought comes to you. I'm not really good with like journals, like physical journals, because I lose things a lot. So at least with my phone, I could just upload it all to the cloud and always have like my information, always have my diary. Right now, I was writing a to-do list. I think to-do lists are incredibly important. I've only just started using them really recently, within the last few months, and I'm an incredibly unorganized person. I have like crazy ADHD, crazy ADD. I was prescribed Adderall for 9 years of my life, from when I was like a kid to basically a legal adult, which then I could like stop taking them. And like that just goes to speak like the levels of like unorganization. I've never been good at like academics, like traditional schooling. I've never been good at, because like it's so hard for me to organize and like track things. But I do understand how important that skill is for people. So the to-do list has been very helpful for me to like write down everything I need to do for the day. And if I don't finish that things, I'll like carry them on to the next day and arrange like my weekly to-do list of like the things I need to do for that week. And I've been using this recently, and it's been very helpful. And I just realized the more things I check off, the better my life becomes. Like we all have a to-do list, like we range our mind, like urgency management of like what's the most important to do. And a lot of people who are neurodivergent and people who like struggle with ADHD and stuff, their urgency management list is kind of fucked, because you're like, oh, I know I should be doing this, but I'm gonna procrastinate and do this as well. Like, trust me, believe me, I have 3,000 hours on Elden Ring. I have never beat the game. That just goes to show you my levels of procrastination. Like, I even procrastinate on the games that I'm praying to procrastinate from other activities. So using this list has helped me a lot. And I've just been writing down like all the moments that are like enhance my belief. Like last night I had a moment with my friends that are out with, and I wrote fatalism, because it was like just this moment. Like we were doing something at one side, one club, and then my friends were doing something at one club, and we just happened to meet up, and it was just like such a moment of like, if I didn't leave at this time, or if I didn't do this specifically at this time, things would have been different. It's just like those little moments that like really reinforce like that fatalism, which I believe. I write that down, because I'm like, there's been so many times in my life where I'm like, there's no way that could happen. Like the opportunity, the chances were so slim on this thing happening, and they happened. And I'm like, that reinforces me to show me like, one, I'm walking a path that is created for me, and two, like you're doing the right thing. And yeah, I have some quotes. I write down my quotes every day, the ones that pop into my mind, and like every day when I'm live streaming, I'm trying to share a few and like discuss some that like have been helpful for me. This one I wrote last night is related to the consciousness. It says, all the best things come with being awake. And that just relates to what I was saying before. Like I was living life so unconsciously for like basically all my life. And then the moment very recently where I decided I'm going to make every single moment conscious. I'm going to really think about every single thing I want to do, whether it's getting out the bed or staying in the bed. Like, oh, do I want to get out the bed and attack my day right now? Or do I want to bed rot for like 5-10 more minutes? And at least if I did make the decision of bed rot, it's like a conscious decision. I'm like, okay, it's been 5-10 minutes of me bed rotting consciously. What do I want to do next? Do I want to continue to do it? Do I need this relaxation for my body? Or am I just procrastinating something else I want to do? Like living consciousness, all the best things come with being awake. And living a sleeping lifestyle, I've lived through life daydreaming. And that, I mean, it was a great life. I love my life. But there's things I want to do, and there's things that I won't be able to do until I become conscious. So I have to exit that phase of sleep and become awake at every moment. So that was one of the quotes. And this is one of the things that started me on my journey. It says, share the lessons you've learned with, it's so hard to say. Share the lessons learned every day with gratitude. Share the lessons learned every day with picture and video documentation and jewelry combined. And yeah, I've been wanting to do this channel for a while. I've had this idea to do it for a long time, but writing it in my notes and like seeing it like forces me to confront, like, am I going to do this, or is it going to be another day of like not doing it, acting consciously? And this was another good one about consciousness. It says, consciousness is a fiery coat. I wrote this. Consciousness is a fiery coat. Use this to dismay the forces of despair. Power is in perception. We can observe this at fundamental levels. And what I say by that, this is all things that reinforce this narrative for me. Like consciousness, being aware, being perceptive, is fiery. It's so much energy. There's so much energy. We can observe this at fundamental and scientific levels. There's so much energy in perceiving. Just the act of perception changes outcomes on the smallest levels of existence. Because for you to see, first there has to be action in here to have your brain directed to tell your eyes to look and to absorb information. And by looking at things, by seeing them with your eyes, you send signals of light. And the light sends a signal. That's a particle. That's so small. That's a little thing. And it hits another little thing. And then it comes back to you. It's a reflection that gives you the ability to perceive. So in that, perception is power. I got that quote from another quote. I forgot it's from another philosopher. And he said, to perceive is, perception is despair. I forgot what they said. It's like to perceive is pain. I forgot. That's like not the exact quote, but it's basically like that. Like I forgot how it goes. Like perception is misery, or to perceive is to like suffer. I forgot how it goes, but I flipped it around, and I was like, I could see how it is. Like being able to perceive, getting knowledge of stuff is like it could be so hurtful. It could like fuck you up. Like you learn things you didn't want to know sometimes, but also in knowing there is power. I found the deepest wealth of my knowledge by being conscious and observing and creating that power. So those are just some of the few quotes I have. I write down like something that comes to my mind every single day. I encourage you to do it as well. I encourage you to have a to-do list. Those are really good things. I have like multiple different to-do lists that I'm trying to organize and evaluate. A little bit, I'm getting better with time. My organizational skills. This is also a skill, like organizing, and I'm getting better at it from being so disorganized my whole life. So I've been yapping for about 20 minutes now. I want to move on to some of the other sections besides just the talk, some of the jewelry and stuff. So for my jewelry, I've been making jewelry for about 2 years now under the moniker DjinnBazaar. Djinn is a very powerful force to me. That is, I'll show you the figure now. That's what all the figures you can see in my profile. You can see it like represented on my profile picture. All of my stuff is like Djinn. And Djinn is a very powerful figure to me. And in traditional text, traditional Hindu text, and I'll pull up the text right now so I can have a perfect reference. But I'm pulling up the photo of the Djinn so you can see it. That's Djinn, stylistically designed by me, but it comes from an actual picture. Sorry, I'm trying to get it brighter, less bright so you can see. Yeah, it's kind of bright, so I'm sorry about that. And the Djinn, which I've always perceived it, is, for me, I've connected with this figure really early on in my life. Maybe about maybe 7 years ago, maybe like 10 years ago. I came across this figure. I don't even know how I came across this figure. I don't even know. And I was writing a lot at the time. That's when I was in high school still, and that's when I used to take a lot of Adderall to be organized. And Adderall is really difficult substance to manage sometimes. And even with my Adderall, I was still like distracted. Not distracted. I was distracted from schoolwork. Distracted from the actual schoolwork I had to do, and was just like doing like writing and shit. Like I was distracted from the actual schoolwork I had to do, and I would just like write, and amazing writing, and I loved the writing. I'll see if I can find one of the excerpts from it and try to read it to you. But I was like writing like a story, very H.P. Lovecraft inspired, about like like a presence that existed. It was like a deep presence that existed far beyond humanity and far longer than humanity, and their mission was to influence humanity with their presence and their feelings, and them being such a great presence, their presence on humanity would just make them act erratically, unrecognizably, and force us to confront uh, the demons of humanity, because I believe these are all just concepts. Demons and angels are concepts that help us understand fundamental aspects of humans, psychological, philosophical aspects of humanity. And Djinn was the origin for me of that badness. Um, and the source material, I pulled it up. It's primitive India and Primitive Christianity by Arthur Lilly, 1909, at sacredtext.com. And this is chapter, not knowing how to read Roman numerals. I think that's 16. Chapter 16 in Ceylon, India, I believe. And they're talking about, you could reference this as well. They go to sacredtext.com and you search up the Bali Devil Dancer. And the Bali Devil Dancer is the origin of the Djinn image. And what I was able to interpret from the text that you could read here is it says, and excuse me for butchering these translations. I'm really bad at this. In a mask of Brahmavara impersonates the god. Here also is a mummer impersonating the Bali. The word Bali means literally a sacrifice, but in Nepal, also in Ceylon, it is used to denote the sorcerers as well. The devil in Nepal called Bahavera. In Ceylon, he has two enormous teeth he has two enormous teeth and turning to Mr. Uphan's plates. I find that the demon so furnished is called Kula Kumara. Kumara, Siva's son, dancing before the altar. There's a lot of things that are difficult for me to interpret in that text, but what I was able to interpret is the Djinn, the Bali, the devil dancer, can be known as a devil, can be known as a sorcerer, but one who impersonates God. And I didn't even understand that text. And I've only discovered this text relating back to this image recently within the last year. So I was using that image for basically my entire adult life without even understanding what that figure meant. And I just decided to search it up, and it just fell in line so much of how I felt narratively, to interpret God, we most impersonate them. In impersonation, mimicry is the highest form of flattery, and by impersonating God, acting as a sorcerer upon their will, a devil even, I'm more easily able to extend and analyze the parts of my humanity, may it be the light or the dark parts. So that's how that image and that figure relates to me. And by impersonating God, I feel like I'm interpreting their will via art. And that's also in my bio, in my Instagram. I'll read it to you. Sorry, let me just put it up real quick. Yes, okay, so I'm gonna read it for you. This is the picture. It's a little bio about me and about the art. I'm sorry, I need a better camera, I'm sorry. But it says, your artist, from far east to west, blessed with the experience of transition at a young age. Our ability to efficiently connect and empathize, expands our perception as artists and humans. Throughout my journey as a designer, I'm effectively transmitting universe's word via art through jewelry. Universe's word via art through jewelry. One of the greatest sources of my enlightenment has been my family. It is with this foundational knowledge of love and care we have been able to nurture a deeper understanding of concepts such as community, compassion, and consideration for not just those within our tribe, in hopes of spreading these blessings universally. It is here we will transition blessings via art. And what I'm saying with that is, I feel like I personally have been blessed with like my life. I had military father and military family, so I traveled a lot. Like I've traveled so much, and at a young age, I was constantly traveling. Like going to one school, making a bunch of friends, going to a different school, basically uprooting my life like more than 6 or 7 times. And a lot of the times that could be like really, it could be possibly very destructive for a kid, you know, because it's really important for children to have those roots and to discover foundation and discover all the important things that come with being somewhere for a long time. But I didn't have that as much, you know, and it was a lot. It was difficult at times, but the one thing I always had was my family, and the one thing that my mom always taught me was like, your family is everything, and it's not even just the family that you're born with. That's your family is your family. You know, the family you call your family, your connected family. Your family is everything, and you have to take care of your family because when the people, if you actually have a family, and I'm not talking about like just family that's born with, like the family that you assume is your family, the family that you've worked hard to like perceive that they're good people to you, if they work with you, if they're like on the same level as you, if you do all that hard part of like analyzing these people and like actually connecting with yourself first to see if these people who are actually for you, you will see the deepest love from your family. And this is something I did, and I've always been able to connect so deep and authentically with my family. Like I have this connection with my brother, my sisters, like my mom that like I never would have like I never could have like I don't know. I don't see a lot of people with these connections with their family, and I'm like so close to them, and it's just like we've been able to do this because like our reinforcement has always been family, and that's the family that you create, not the family you're born with. But in my case, I've been very lucky to be like the family that I'm born with has been like so strong. But I've also created other family, the people I've met and have become literally just as strong as family. Literally, like not even exaggeration. So yeah, it was the ability through transition at an early age that helped me. That's another thing. It helped me like realize the what is it, like things are just temporary. Like everything is temporary, everything is finite, like everything is gonna lose. You're gonna lose everything you love. Like everything you love is gonna turn into dust and fade away. Everything. And being conscious, being aware, being awake lets you enjoy the moment. It lets you live in the moment and enjoy those things before they fade away. So you can enjoy it while they're there. You can enjoy the past of it, and you can enjoy the future of it. And it's all about enjoying that entire journey rather than focusing on one aspect of the journey. And that's what that transition helped me a lot, is like going to different places, and instead of being like, oh damn, I'm like so sad to leave my friends. And I was sad to leave my friends, you know, that was what I was like so sad. But it's like I also was like, fuck yeah, like I get to meet new people, I get to start a new reputation, I get to talk to some more people, make some new crushes, like I get to start over and like build something else with like new people. Like as sad as like leaving people, like you, as soon as people exit your life, that creates more room for other people to get into your life. And that's a thing that we all have to be very comfortable with, because no matter who you love, the most secure person in your life is going to leave in one way. They're going to leave your life not wanting to be with you anymore. They're going to leave your life like you guys just go different directions. You don't see each other anymore, or they're going to fucking die. You know, we're all going to fucking die. The people you love most are going to die. My mom's going to fucking die. My sister's going to fucking die. Hopefully I die before them, but everybody's going to fucking die. And you have to be comfortable with accepting the things that come into your life and just living consciously and living to the moment, accept that it's there and understand that it won't be there, you know, and understand that it exists for yourself too, you know. Nothing is permanent. Everything exists in a state of non-permanence, and we have to, as humans, stop trying to chase an aspect of immortality and preservation. Games like From Software games and Dark Souls, Elden Ring really helped me understand the effects of trying to immortalize things, like trying to keep things living longer than they need to be will enter states of decay and rot. So the most important, I always tell people, the most important skill you could have is knowing when to let go, knowing when to call it. You know, when you're having a good time and nobody wants to call it, like, you need to know when to call it. You know, it's going to take you so far in life being like, okay, this moment was great. I had everything I needed. I appreciate it. I'm going to think about it like in a positive way, and I'm going to continue on, you know? So that's what the experience of transition has helped me with, and going through it. I also believe another really important part is, as an artist and as a human, is your ability to connect all things, being able to see a connection to things, being able to see how things have similarity, being able to see how because everything in this entire fucking universe is connected. And the better you are at seeing all the different connections, literally the more intelligent person you become. Because you could see, if you could see physics, then you could see how physics relates to fucking biochemistry. Then you could see how biochemistry relates to philosophy, and how that relates to like fucking quantum physics, like bio quantum physics. Like everything is fucking connected. And by being able to like understand how everything is connected, it'll let you better have grasp on the things in this world, like the concepts in this world that seem so far. Like that's how I'm able to connect death to love, and how loved one dying is also a beautiful experience for you. Like usually a lot of people can't see those connections, how that something like that could be beautiful. But life, death, love, hatred, war, famine, torture, all the good and bad things about life are connected. And we want less bad things. We want less war. We want less torture. We want less people to be suffering. But by seeing how all these things are connected, we can better able to tackle these things. Because a lot of people who want these things to stop, they can't see the connections in these things. And I think that's a really important lesson. And is that all about my bio? Yeah, and just the last thing is like I said, uh, nurture a deeper understanding of concepts such as community and compassion and consideration for not just those within our tribe, you know, because I think that's a really important lesson. Like, all of us work so hard to develop compassion and community and understanding, but we need to work harder to expand it outside of our tribe, because we can't just nurture the people who are close to us. It's hard work, but we have to work hard to nurture those who exist outside of us, you know, those people who aren't our family, those people who aren't even necessarily our friends. Honestly, sometimes they're our enemies. We have to, not even sometimes, we have to work hard to nurture an understanding and empathy with our enemies. And I think that's the thing that humans suffer from a lot, especially America and the Western world. Is like, there's so many different types of people, so many different combinations of people, so many different ways that our minds can organize themselves. Think about that. Physiologically, genetically, your brain is so fucking complex, and there's like so many different ways that brain matter and all your neurons and all that different shit can arrange themselves. So for that just to be a reality, there's just so many different ways that people can exist. It's like such a varied way. And with that, we have to understand that people are drastically different from each other. Like, no matter how close humans might seem, we're so far different from each other. And we all have such different profound realities happening inside of our mind. If one of you could just hop in my head and watch the shit that I'm seeing, you would be blown away. And it would be the same for me to you, because we all live such profound, complex realities. And we need to understand that about each other. We need to respect that about each other, because there's not enough respect for the realities that other people are living. We see other people's realities that are so different from ours. And a lot of times we're just like, oh, that person's different. Oh, that person's crazy. Oh, that person's not connected to this reality. And while all those facts might be true, we need to respect that. And then we need to do, I think our job as humans, brothers, sisters in this world is like connecting with people and connecting our realities, even if they're absolutely different, even if they're opposing. We need to connect our realities and just have more connection and see, connect the things that are similar in our worlds, in our lives. And that's going to really embolden us, one, as a nation, as Americans, and embolden us as humans. We really need to work hard to get into the next phase of humanity, because what we're facing now with all this technological development, the technology is moving 1,000 times faster than humans are moving, and we're digressing, or we're de-evolving by not being present, by not being conscious, by not being understanding and empathetic to everybody, because by being understanding and empathetic to people and everybody around you, to the world, it makes you understand the world more, because you can let more in. You're not guarded all the time, you know? We have to be empathetic, we have to be understanding, we have to let our emotions flourish like a flower blossoming. Don't hide, don't sequester your emotions, don't hide yourself. We owe it even more now. I won't get into politics, you know, but with the state of the world now, we owe it, especially me as a queer person of color, I owe it deeply to myself, and not just myself, to every person who have fought hard, who have died for my freedoms, who have been tortured unmercilessly for my freedoms, for them to be able to, like, no, I'm going to receive this torture, I'm going to receive this heartache so that one of my future generations gets to live the truest life. The people who fought and died in the Holocaust, the people who fought in the fucking black rights movement, the people who fought to make America what it was, the civil wars, fighting slavery, all these wars that people had to fight for individuality, autonomy, and freedom, we owe it so hard to not just ourselves, to not just our family, but to all those people who fucking died and got tortured for our rights. I owe it to them. And that's the life that I live by. Like, nobody, nothing, you're going to have to shoot me in my fucking head to get me to not live the life that I need to live, for not just me, but for everybody. I'm doing it for you guys too, you know? Me living my most authentic life gives me the ability to interpret these lessons and share them like I'm doing now. And it took a long time for me to get to where I'm at. And it took a lot of people to suffer, a lot of people that I don't even know to suffer to get to where I'm at. And our job is to live that life, live our life, and do our best to acknowledge those people who suffered for us, and do our best to live the fucking life that we need to live. I remember going to the Holocaust Museum in New York. That was my first time going back to New York City, or New York, since I was born. I was born in Buffalo, New York, and my dad took me maybe like six years ago to a trip to New York City, and that was the first time I ever been back to New York since I was born. We went to the Holocaust Museum. This is one of the most impactful moments of that trip. And I didn't think it was going to be the most impactful moment. Like, I know going to the Holocaust Museum was going to be impactful, but, you know, I'm not like a super museum person. So going to museums sometimes, I'm like super distracted. My ADD is going crazy. So I'm like not super in it, but I really appreciate it. But I didn't even think I'd be as touched as I was in that moment. And it was seeing a quote from a Holocaust survivor. And I forgot exactly what they said, but it went around like something like, we got tortured and we suffered so that everybody else can live the freest, truest versions of themselves with autonomy. And so that people can have this knowledge that these things are horrible, these atrocities aren't right, and nobody should do these things. And we need that knowledge of, one, that nobody should do these things, and of two, like, we have to fight hard for our freedoms, and people will die for our freedoms, and people will be tortured for our freedom. So we owe it to those people to live the life as true as we can. And yeah, I mean, that's just like 40 minutes of me like yapping, but I hope it all connects. I hope it all connects and shows you the cohesion of what I'm trying to do here, what I'm trying to do with this live stream journey, what I'm trying to do with my jewelry is my interpretation of these things given and shared. And I want other realities. I want other people to share their experiences with me so we could talk about it. You know, I love talking. I literally listen to people talk all day. That's part of my job. I love hearing people talk about their lives and their experiences and their realities. So I want that to be shared on this channel. However far or short it may go, I want these videos to be an archive of my documentation of my lessons and my journeys, but also shared with other people. And that's all I want to do with this channel. And share my art, of course, you know. And talking about the art, let's get into some of that. It's been 40 minutes of me talking. Let's get into some of the art. So one of the main things I'm influenced by is style and fashion. So you can peep the fit. I don't got anything crazy going on. I got the Kurumi socks. I love Kurumi. That's my favorite scenario character. I just got like this low cut shirt and like these jeans that got rolled up. I like this little like side handle thing, and I like these pockets. These pockets are kind of cool. You got a top pocket and a bottom pocket. I'm usually a lot more stylish than this, but I'm like, my first like live stream, I wanted to take it easy and like show you off the outfit. Show you my studio as well. This is my studio, my work studio, my production studio, my creative production studio. It's really small right now. This is basically like on the inside of a closet that I have sectioned off from the rest of my place. with like a green screen and like just a table cover. It's really small, but I'm really small. I'm 5'3". I weigh like 127 pounds. So I really love spinning in small places. And my apartment is a pretty small place. My apartment, which I share with my young sister, 1 year younger than me, and my older brother, 8 years older than me, and we all live here together. We all have lived together basically our whole lives. Really good at living together in small spaces and cramped spaces. So this arrangement works really perfectly for me. It lets me live in the studio. Lets me create in the studio. Yeah, there's some of my artworks. I'm gonna show you everything. Beautiful, beautiful artworks I've received from amazing friends, and each one of these friends have like touched my life in like an incredible way. And some of those friends aren't with me. You know, we went on different journeys. We chose to do different things. We see life differently. But I'm like so deeply appreciative of everything that they have taught me in these moments. You know, and everything I have on my wall is a relic from something that's deeply touched me. This is when I was modeling for an event, Elevate Angel. I got this at another event I was vending at, and then somebody was selling like priestess pictures. I got this from a good friend. It was a drawing of me. I got this from a good friend as a birthday present. It's obsidian wrapped in beautiful gold-plated wire. Also, these flowers I got from a friend. This beautiful wire-wrapped necklace I got from two friends where I make jewelry with and like vend with sometimes. I made this a long time ago. Like I never take it off the wall. It always stays there. Back there are some of my paintings those people drawings have also drawn of me. These are pictures with my wonderful friend and fire artist Nirvana. That's another drawing from one of my other amazing, talented, eco-surrealist friends, Morgan Moto Art, incredible artist. Check them out on Instagram. This is one of my wax, smoky wax, melted wax paintings. I have a few down there. They're kind of hard to see. I have another one picture up there from one of my best friends. That's another one up there from Morgan Moto Art, and that's another one from one of my best friends. So I always have my art on wall. That's another beautiful piece from Anthony James Harmer, Prom Shark on Instagram. Fantastic. That's another Morgan Moto piece right there. The collage piece hanging under that painting right there. Another beautiful piece from Morgan Moto Art. I would get closer, but my camera's kind of attached to my thing, so I can't get any closer. And these are all stickers. If anybody sees their sticker there, shout out. Anytime I get a sticker, I post it like right there on the side of my cabinet. So that's like the artistic part of my workshop. And this is like mostly like jewelry fabrication workshop. So obviously you have the basics, like you definitely need safety goggles, glasses, mask. I'm gonna get a better mask, respirator. It's coming pretty soon. Apron. I have gloves to protect your hands. I have all the stuff. These are where I keep my mandrels, pliers. I'm working on a better organizational system. Like I said, like I'm getting better at all this stuff, but I'm just trying. Paint brushes for sweeping, dusting. All my wire I keep in here. My sheets. These are like copper sheets. We're gonna work with some of this copper today. My hammers are back here. This is where I keep all my tiny mandrels, my drill bits, my other pieces for my rotary tool. Down there is where I keep all my polishing equipment. There's my bottle of water. It's water in there, not aloe vera juice. This is also more of my drill bits. A lot of this is really embarrassing, like my organization. So take note of what not to do and how not to store your equipment. I promise I'm like such a broke artist right now. So I'm just like getting all these components of organization and stuff together. Those are like my files and my little sanding equipment. Those are my ring bender tool. These are more of my miscellaneous equipment. You can see how dirty everything is. My studio is kind of messy. This is the workshop right now. Ignore the vape. I'm actually trying, as of today, December 1st, trying to go sober from all substances, even processed sugar, for a month, except for nicotine, because dropping everything is hard. I do engage in a lot of substances, and this is what we were talking about before with like dangerous lifestyles. So I engage in a lot of substances, but me enacting consciously is helping me to create a clear path for myself where substance use can exist and, you know, body care, like self-care can exist as well. Because I love both of these things. Yeah. So yeah, that's like a full studio tour. I keep a lot of stuff in this workbench, my polisher, rotary tool. I keep a lot of stuff in here, and that's my closet. You see, those are my dresses. I wear a lot of dresses and a lot of long skirts. At the end of today's live stream, I'll show you some of those. I'll show you some of those outfits. We do a little outfit try on. But now, since you know the person, non-binary, Djinn, you can now get to know some of the jewelry. Okay. I make a lot of. I'm just getting into jewelry fabrication. So like working to actually create pieces from like actual like just metal actually poured and like actually rolled myself, actual copper and stuff like that. But I also work on a lot of assembled pieces. So these are example of some of my assembled. This wasn't made for me. This was made by a beautiful, wonderful artist named April Candace. I'll have to get the Instagram. I'll get the Instagrams of all the other artists after the live stream, and I'll put them in the description so you can see. But this is my piece. This is like pearl and chain. It's like Tahitian pearl and stuff like that. This is a ring fully fabricated by me, sterling silver ring, one of the first rings I made. This is a fully fabricated nose piece, and I make a lot of pieces that piercingless jewelry. So this is fully fabricated by me. You don't need any piercings. I don't have any kind of septum piercing. I just boop, pop that in. I make a lot of piercingless jewelry you could wear for your body if you don't have piercings. But I do have a lot of piercings in this ear. It's hard to see. I think I have 6 or 7 piercings in that ear. I just got a new one like 2 weeks ago. I'm gonna get that entire ear filled out with piercings. I think there's like 20 piercings you can get in an ear. I'm gonna get all of them in that ear. And this ear has no piercings at all. And I'm gonna keep it like that to like demonstrate like pierced jewelry, piercingless jewelry, and I make both. So that's like everything I'm wearing right now that I have. I make a lot of copper jewelry. It's like copper rings and earrings and stuff like that. I want to show you more, but I want to be like slow, slow how we get into this so you can like see the full extent of things. Yeah, and yeah, so that was great. So I shared the lessons of today. You know about my workspace. You know how my mind works. Let's get into some actual jewelry, okay? And we're gonna go together. We're gonna move together because you guys are on this journey just like I am now. We're in this shit together. If you're watching this, we're gonna go together and we're gonna like. I'm building my collection. Right now. It's a big copper collection, and I'm building through seeing what things I want for my actual launch. What things I'm gonna like make on my website for people to buy. Over and over again, like the things that I'm gonna make over and over again, because I have pieces that I just make for one time and I have pieces that I'm gonna make over and over again. So I'm developing that collection now. So let's get into the workshop and you can see how that looks. Okay, so right now this is everything that I was working with. I'm gonna walk you through the entire process as I go through it. So we don't need this. Technically, we need a little bit of it. Need a little bit of this. Since like I'm sober from everything, nicotine has been what's helping me. I usually smoke a lot of weed, but I figured I'll keep nicotine for this sobriety rather than weed because I've been smoking weed. I've been using THC almost every single day of my life. Basically every single day of my life for like a decade. Maybe a little bit shorter, but yeah, basically there's been very few times where I wasn't high. And I mean, I've created and done such beautiful things with it, but I don't recommend that lifestyle for people. And I don't think people should live their life like that. And I need a break from that specific substance completely. I mean, for right now, I need a break. And as much as I love THC is amazing. I need this for myself to reinstate that power in myself, because at the end of the day, I know I love these substances. These substances are beautiful, but I need to know that I'm more powerful than any of these substances. So yeah, so just a little bit of break for the whole month of December, and then we're gonna go back. So I like to get started. I believe. Wait. Sorry, I had to sneeze. Sorry. The most important process to start is to clean your workspace. And I used to do a lot of cooking. And in culinary, we had this term in cooking. We had this term. It's called mise en place. Mise en place. And mise en place just means everything in place. So by getting everything in place, we organize ourselves and we make for the process to go a lot smoother because everything we need is right in front of us. So I'm going to show you everything we're going to need for this project. I'm making my famous plate earrings. I could call them plate or like shield or like card earrings because like when I make them, you'll see like they really resemble like plates or playing cards or something like that. So what we're gonna need, we're always gonna need a bench vise, some kind of what is this thing called again? I forgot what this thing is called. Oh, God damn it! I'm gonna link all the materials in the bio of the video. I can't believe I'm forgetting what this is called. Bench pen. Yeah, I think it's a bench pen. They come in a lot of different like shapes and sizes. This is one of the most basic and cheap ones. A lot of my materials I'm using are like the most basic and cheap versions, but I'm showing you what you get done with like basic and cheap versions of things. So yeah, that's what this is. You're gonna need a solder right brick because you're gonna need something to heat the metal on, a surface that absorbs heat, and a surface that reflects heat. You don't really need the surface that reflects heat, but I just like to have it. A charcoal brick. This is a soft charcoal brick, but I'd recommend a hard charcoal brick for like if you have sheet metal and you want to anneal it. Annealing is the process of heating metal up to rearrange the atoms and then cooling it down. It makes the metals more malleable. So yeah, solderite brick, soft charcoal brick, bench pen, bench anvil, ball peen hammer. I'm going to add some like stamps. So these are all stamps that I'm going to use and add onto the plate earrings. You're going to need a sharp drill bit to poke a hole and widen the hole because it's the earrings, so you're going to need a way for the jump ring to be attached. So you're going to need a rotary tool. Well, you don't need a rotary tool. You could also just stamp a hole into that, and I'll show you both methods. Okay, so you don't need that. I'm showing you everything you do need. You don't need everything. You don't even need stamps. There's a lot of ways I'll show you could use to like texture and add customization to your metals. But I really prefer stamps and I recommend them because this is a custom stamp I got designed by Stamps Workshop. It's a Ukrainian workshop. They did awesome work. I'll link that below too. That's my logo that they designed. And just having a stamp, you could put anything in a logo and then put it on the stamp, and that gives your jewelry, your art, a credible amount of customization. You also need some tweezers for picking up hot metal. I have a cup of water. Definitely use a glass. Don't use plastic like me. Don't be dumb. I have borax dish and a borax cone for coating the metal. You want to coat the metal before you anneal it with heat to prevent fire stain. I have some little more tiny tweezers. And of course, you're going to need a variety of files. Also, you will need either a jeweler's saw, and some jeweler's saw blades, or what I use for this project, some metal shears. These are pretty decent metal shears, but you could get a lot better metal shears. And you want to make sure the shears that you're using, the scissors that you're using, can cut the size of metal you're using. And that's what we're moving on to next. I have copper sheet. So this copper sheet is... Oh, damn it, I forgot. Oh my god, I forgot what gauge this copper sheet is at. The gauge is basically the metal's thickness. So it's the metal thickness from the side. That's really important because cutting at different thicknesses, working with metal at different thicknesses is harder or easier depending on how big or... The larger the thickness is, the harder it is to cut and manipulate. The thinner it is, the easier it is to cut and manipulate. If I had to guess, I would say this is like 14 gauge, but that's just a guess. I'll get back to you with everything that I use. I'm not sure what I use, and they have this blue film over it. This blue film is like a protective coating that helps you like when you're sawing and stuff. It helps you like keep shape and not mess up the metal, not scratch up the metal. So you need a copper sheet, borax disc, shears, jewelry shears, files, soldering bricks, ball peen hammer, stamps, bench vise, bench pen. I have a rotary tool. You also need a torch. You're gonna need a torch for heating up the metal. This is my torch right here. It's just a torch I got from the discount store. I believe that's everything. And of course, for safety, we're gonna be using gloves. We're gonna be using full range goggles. If you get goggles, to make sure that they're full range, like they could cover the full things of your face, because I got a lot of like when I'm cutting up metal and shit will shoot from the underneath. So goggles, and you're gonna want to use a respirator, folks. I don't have a respirator right now. I have one coming in. I ordered one, so I just have like N95 mask. But I don't recommend. I don't recommend. These are the masks I have. For absolute safety, I don't recommend you get started on this journey, especially fabricating, until you have a respirator and a good air purifier, because you could do some pretty bad damage to your body without breathing in all the fumes and stuff. But this is what I have right now, and I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna take that L for you guys to teach. But like I said, learn from my mistakes. Get the right equipment, and I'm also gonna put some shoes on because you don't want anything falling on your feet. So I'll be right back. All right, peoples. Okay, let me just throw on my shoes. And another thing I'm gonna do. Another thing I'm gonna do with this journey is I'm gonna send it to all my friends. I have a lot of friends that I know personally and non-personally, and I want to send them this journey so they can follow around. Like, how awesome is it to have a friend that you could like just tap in and see how they're doing and follow their journey at any moment. So I got my protective gear, I got my shoes, I got my gloves, I got my glasses, I got my mask, and I'm gonna put on my apron in a second. But first, if you will just give me some time, I'm gonna send this live stream to everybody. So just give me a little moment. If you got some music, turn it on. I'm also gonna be turning on music, but due to copyright systems on YouTube, I can only tell you what song I'm playing. And hopefully you could turn it on and you could listen to it as well so we can be in the same vibe. But yeah, just give me just a second to pull up and send this stuff to my friends. Right now, I'm putting on Sunset Melody by an artist named Natanya Pupolola. I don't know how to say their name, but it's right there. It's a beautiful song. That's what I'm listening to right now if you want to listen to it. So just give me like 5 minutes. Boo, 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 boo. Do, 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 do. Okay, guys. I just got done sending a text to everybody. I gotta let my family, my friends know that I'm starting this journey, but I wanted to get like the preface out the way, like the 40 minutes of yapping. So if anybody's just tuning in now, go watch the 40 minutes because it's just really important describing what I want to accomplish with this journey, describing what I want to do, and describing the changes I want to make with my life. But like I said, let's get into the work. Right now, I'm listening to Chola by Jerry Paper. If you want to listen along, it's a really good song. So first, like I said, we're gonna get start with Apron. Hi everybody. So safety first. Apron. I need to get some new headphones. I don't like the way the apron like goes around the headphones. Yeah, make sure apron is nice and secure. Also, when you're making jewelry, you don't want to wear any jewelry because the possibility of things getting caught into each other is there. Learn from my mistakes. Don't do as I do. Take all this stuff off. Ring comes off. I just don't feel like taking this off, but ring comes off. Then we have glasses. And then we have our mask. You see why I need new headphones, right? Okay. And then we have our gloves. You really want to be safe because if you get into jewelry making, you want to do it for a long time, and you obviously won't be able to do it for a long time if you sustain injuries or compound injuries over time. And that goes for any like hard or arduous art form, sport, whatever you call. I used to do martial arts. I used to do like a lot of sports that are like tough on my body, and it makes me appreciate my body more. So let's see what we got here. So, sorry, camera. Okay. Sorry, I gotta adjust the camera a little bit. Come on, focus. You got this. You got this, camera. Come on, focus. There we go. Alright, let's get the vape out of the way. Wait, actually, I'm just realizing now that there's two people I forgot to send to. And that's my... that's my mom and my sister. I forgot to send the live stream to. So, let me just send it to them. Sorry, let me just get this text out the way. All right, text sent. Let me take this out of my pocket. I got so many wires. That's another good thing. I mean, bad thing. If you're working with rotary tools, other tools, you don't want to have any wires next to you because they could get caught. That's very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Okay, so now I'm officially ready to get started. I'm listening to Glass Shadows by Liv E. So that's a really good song. So let's get started. Put on our gloves. So the first thing that I'm going to do, this is not completely necessary, but I'm going to use a reference sheet of metal that I made to make the earrings. So I have a reference sheet of copper. This is my reference cut. And then we're going to use this to get the same size earrings twice. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to peel off this sticker. Yeah, so we got some nice clean copper. Look at that. Dispose of our waste. And then I'm going to take my scribe tool to trace this. Oh, also, I forgot a really important step in my jewelry making process is my documentation. I have a journal in which I document my art, the art I'm hoping to achieve to make, and like a lot of things I want to get down on my list. And I completely forgot about that, but every single time you step into your studio, every single time you step into your art space, you step in your headspace to do work, you want to document it because you want to document your progress and you want to document your failures, document everything. The more documentation, the more information, my brother taught me that. The more information you have, the more useful it becomes. Document everything. So make sure you're on a stable surface. I'm gonna take this glove off real quick to get a better grip. And simply, this is a pointed edge. It's a titanium scribe, so it goes into most metals. And just trace. Easy. You see that? Easy. And then we're gonna get two of these. But first, I'm gonna cut this one out and then make another drawing so it's easier. Place my tools down. Mask on when we're using our torch. Solderite brick. And so right now, sorry, let me just adjust my camera. Right now, this is a very large piece of copper. And the thing about it when you're working with large pieces of metal is like the heat can distribute unevenly sometimes. So what I'm going to do with this piece of copper is I'm going to cut it. Yeah, I'm just thinking. Yeah, I'm going to cut it in half. So yeah, just squeeze firmly one side. It's good to have gloves on the cutting hand and just cut. It sometimes takes a little bit of muscle, but yeah, you got it. Takes a little force, and when you're cutting with a lot of force, like the scissors can bend the metal and warp the metal. So this is where it comes in good to like have a jeweler's saw. A jeweler's saw blade helps avoid the warping because you'll just get a straight cut and the pressure won't warp it. The warping is okay for me because I'm going to use the hammer to flatten it down on the anvil. And the hammering is going to give it even more distressed and textured look. So I don't mind the warping. But if you're working with like more intricate pieces, like working with more intricate shapes and designs, you don't want to use scissors because scissors are going to warp the design too much. But if you're using like flat designs, like I'm just cutting obviously rectangles and squares, it's really easy to shape those pieces and hammer them back into shape. So I came from one side and I cut and it got really dense on that side, so I'm coming from the other side to, there we go. So this is the side with the print on it. Right now what's playing is All the Joy by Moonchild. Great band, so peaceful to listen to. My mom put me onto those people actually, they're really great. Me and my mom listen to a lot of the same music. She's awesome. So now we're gonna put our mask on and we're gonna heat up this metal. Actually, I'm just remembering now, I'm so sorry. Before I heat up this metal, I'm going to prepare my pickle solution. Now the pickle solution is an acidic bath for metals that you dip them in after heating them up. This does a few things. One of it takes off the fire stain. So the stains that you get from using hard fire on your metals, it'll remove the fire stain and it'll retexture it. So it'll give you an opportunity to work with like cleaner metal. So I'm gonna set up my pickle pot right now. There's a lot of ways to make pickle, I believe, and there's a lot of ways to like use pickle. I have a Sparex acid compound formula. That's what this is. So you just dump a little bit of this into like hot water, a granular acid compound, and you just stir it up. So I'm gonna get my pot together. Let's organize my workbench a little bit more so I have room for it. Never want to introduce things into your workshop if you don't have room for it. So this can go up. I'll just set these over here. Hammer over here. Tweezers over here. Charcoal block over here. Scribe over here. Reference metal over here. Take my towel and wipe everything down. And now I'm gonna grab my hot plate, my pot. Where's my pot? Nah, oh yeah, here's my hot plate. There's a lot of ways you could do this. The safest way is definitely gonna be like a crock pot, like a jeweler's crock pot to heat this up. Let me just go replace the water. All right, I have my water, and especially if you're using a pot for this, you want to make sure that your pot is very clean, because the acid, the pickle compound, is a chemical compound, so it can be easily influenced by like other presences in the pickle, and it'll like change the way your metal turns. So yeah, definitely be careful with that. Get my pickle pot nice and secure. Right now, I'm listening to Monte Cristo by Boldy James. Incredible rapper. A lot of dark content, subject matter, but a lot of philosophical content, subject matter. It's Monte Cristo. It's the extended alternate version. Search it up on YouTube. It's really good. Okay. So now I'm going to safely administer the Sparex compound into the water. So this is the acid pickle compound. You want to be very careful with this stuff. It is acidic. So if you get any on your skin or in your eyes, you want to like rinse them out thoroughly, very thoroughly. Rinse the area out. And if it's like a lot, maybe consult, your poison control center for further directions. But mostly, just don't get into your eyes. Don't expose it on your skin. You should be fine. So you only need a little bit of that, because we're only working with a little bit of metal today. And then I'm just going to take my copper tweezers, make sure they're copper, clean them off very thoroughly, and then stir that up a little bit. So that's going to be ready. Nice. It's going to heat up nice and hot. So for when we need to dip this in, it's going to cool it off. So now what we're going to do is we're going to wait for this to heat up a little bit more. And when this heats up more, we're going to heat up this metal. And then we're going to cut our piece. Now, I'm waiting for this to get timed right, because I don't want to heat this up too soon and this is not hot enough. So I didn't get the mise en place right. So when you're getting everything in place, you want to have your pickle pot and everything already in place and heated up too. This is the only thing I forgot. This isn't a necessary tool. I like using pickle because it gives my work a different look, but you can just file and clean all the fire stain off of your metal. You don't need pickle, but it does change your workflow. Making sure I have everything. Double checking. Yeah. Okay. All right, just like another 3 minutes. While we're waiting here, anybody and everybody who's watching, I really appreciate you. If I have any friends or family watching this, I really, really appreciate you guys. You guys give me enough confidence to do this every day. Like, I can't stress enough how all of my ability to talk and everything is influenced by friends. So that's nice. This is just about hot enough now. I'll give it another 2 minutes. I'm listening to Mud Baby Roo. I just found this song like 2 days ago from a YouTube short. It's called 40 More Reasons, and I like the instrumental in it is just like so clean. It's like this violin trap instrumental. It's amazing. Hey, you want to say hi to the stream?
Yeah.
Hey, this is my wonderful sister.
Hi.
I say hi to all the wonderful people watching.
Hi, people.
Hi, YouTube people.
We all know them, but
Yeah.
yeah.
We get a lot of shit done as a family here. It's a big family, like, cooperative experience, cooperative living experience. It really helps organize everything living with family. Not for everybody, but definitely for us. Right?
You believe mom fucking laughed at me?
What the hell?
She got mad and she laughed at me on the tennis court.
Oh my god. Water check. Drink your water, guys. Water check.
Oh, shit. Are you actually? Yeah.
Yeah. I need at least one substance.
Going hard in the chaos.
Literally. Okay, so this is ready. This is ready. So let's do the fire. Mask on.
Are you not even smoking weed?
No, not even smoking weed. Weed is the main thing I need to take a break from.
Why?
Because I do it every single day.
Yeah, I get that.
I haven't been sober in a very long time. So we're going to set this up. We're going to prop it. Okay, I can't prop it, so that's okay. You don't need to prop it. Gloves on, mask on, glasses on. Let's do this. Oh, actually, before I heat this up, you want to make sure. Oops, sorry. You want to make sure your metal is absolutely clean. Clean metals help the acid better. So we're gonna heat this metal up, And we're going to heat it up mostly on the side that we scribed on. So we're annealing it first to help cut the metal. Annealing it is going to help the metal cut easier. It's a lot easier to cut. It's a lot easier to work with metal once you anneal it to a significant temperature. And right now, I'm just annealing it till it turns red hot. So just go over it a few times. With larger pieces of metal, with thicker pieces of metal, it takes longer to heat it up. And this is what I'm talking about, like fire stain. All this stuff right here, depending on how you like file it and polish it, all this stuff will stick to the metal. So you want to heat it up nice and hot, get it red hot. Right now I'm listening to Bernadines by Boldy James and the Alchemist. So it takes a while. I'm going to get all the metal red hot. I'm mostly focusing on the area that I scribed on. Put a little bit more power on this torch, yeah. We're just about there. This is where a lot of the fire stain occurs in this darkening stage. You can see how the metal is all dark. But you could also use fire stain as a creative element to add color and texture to your metals. So it's not always required that you take the fire stain off, but if you want like a high degree polish, you'll want to remove the fire stain and coat it or dunk it in acid. You can see it's just about getting red hot. It's just about there. You see it's just now getting there. It's a very long process depending on how big your metal is. So you could definitely cut your metal first and then anneal it. But for me, this is an easier process. So that's just hot enough. It's just peaking on red hot. This is super hot, so you don't want to touch this. And I'm going to dip this whole plate into my acid solution. You hear that? You hear that? There we go. Once it stops bubbling, you're good to go. And as you can see, we're back to a bright red copper. And this is what I mean. This is fire stain and all that stuff. But since the acid solution is going to make that easier to take that off. So we got the acid solution on there. Now we're going to dunk it in some water to remove the acid. Clean off the acid. Now we have bright red copper again. And acid compounds could change the look of your metal a lot. Sometimes people use that to their advantage. Like if you have silver or sterling silver and you dip it in an acid compound, you get what's called frost. Like your entire metal will be all frosty and white. That's the acid on the metal. And it sometimes looks really cool. It's called white metal, white silver. It's really cool. So now we're going to locate our thing right here is where we scribed at. And that's how we're going to cut. So let's cut. See how much easier that is to cut? Like butter. Easy. And this is what we're going to start out with for our plate earrings. Look at that. Too easy. So we got our flat earring for our copper. I mean, it's not flat yet, but a little bit of hammering, it's going to be flat. So let's do that. So now it's all nice and annealed. It should be easier to hammer. It was easier to cut. And it'd be easier to shape. But we're not having, the only shape that we need in this one are a rectangle. So I'm I'm gonna mute the mic for a second because the banging is loud. This is a ball peen hammer. You want to use a wooden hammer or a rawhide, wooden or rubber mallet for hammering. You need a lot of different hammers in this work. You don't need a lot of different hammers, but depending on the texture or the shape you're trying to achieve, you might need different hammers. But you could really just do this with the basic hammers. But I'm using a wood mallet. Okay, so now we have a flat rectangle piece of copper. This is still kind of malleable right now, so we're going to use our reference sheet that we cut to scribe another piece and cut that. Just be very careful not to like overlap. And you can get it mostly good because get most of the shape right. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're gonna file out the corners. So let's cut again. So this piece is a little bit less malleable because it's cooling off. So it's a little bit harder to get the cut I need. It's okay. Just a lot of this work is like feeling it. You gotta feel it. You gotta kind of like do what's right for you. So if you're a tactile person like I am myself, it's a lot easier. Another tip, always collect your scraps. You could always do things with scraps. There's so much stuff you could do with scraps. You can melt them back down. You could honestly just take all your scraps and melt them down to like value and sell that like just whole if you wanted to. All right, so we got our 2 pieces of copper. This is what we're left with, and this is the scrap. We'll see if we can do something with the scrap later. So let's put that back up, put the scrap back up. Now we have our basic 2 sheets of copper that we're gonna use for the earrings. So let's hammer this one down flat again. So now we have 2 flat pieces of copper, just about identical in size and shape. The next step we're going to do is we're going to anneal them again. We're going to heat them up again, and then we're going to go into our stamping portion. So remember, just like I said, make sure you're using all your safety equipment. Make sure that your pickle is hot. And we're just gonna heat these up. I'm gonna use a tweezer just to... Actually, no, I'm not gonna use a tweezer. I don't need it. Let's just get these nice and flat. These are gonna heat up a lot quicker than the other stuff, or the other sheet of metal, because they're just 2 lone pieces of metal. So watch how fast these heat up. They heat up really fast. See, we're already getting darkening on this one. Obviously, with a more powerful torch, you're able to achieve these steps a lot quicker. This is just a butane torch I bought at the dollar store. You don't need a strong torch to achieve like annealing and like soldering. You just need like a decent torch. And I will tell you the BTUs on this torch as soon as I'll put it in the description. Look how quickly those metals are changing color. They're also changing in malleability as they get hotter. So that means easier to manipulate. Slow down your flame. Focus. Fire control, flame control is a really important step. in jewelry fabrication. You want to have really good controlled hand for a flame. Make sure your flame is really controlled. That really comes in handy when you start doing like really fine soldering, like earring bezels and stuff like that. Earring settings, like gem settings. Like you want to be really good at controlling your flame and watching the metals. Like now we can see the metal is red hot. So we're gonna do this. Now that it's red hot, we're gonna hold it for like 10-15 more seconds. And it should be good. So I'm gonna turn my torch off. Get my plates. 1, 2. Watch the bath. Watch the bath. I know it's hot, but sometimes you gotta watch the bath. Watch the bath. Good. Sometimes it's hard to pick up though when it's all flat. Alright, we got one piece and dunk it in the water. 2 pieces, dunk it in the water. So now, let me think. I think we're done with this. I gotta think about the process in my head. Stamping. Yeah, okay, we're done with this. So I'm gonna set this up. Always keep your workstation clear. If you don't need something, put it back up. If it uses heat, turn it off. Okay, clean our workstation. Okay, let's check on our 2 pieces of copper. Sometimes it's hard to fish out of there since they're so flat. Alright, I'm going in there, guys. Two pieces of bright red copper. I'll clean my hands off. Okay, so now since we got our 2 pieces of flat copper sheet, we're going to texture and stamp them. So let's move these onto the mallet. Or what's it called? Anvil. There's a lot of anvils and a lot of hammers you can get when you're getting into metal texturing and metal stamping. A lot will be very useful on your journey. A few of the things that I've been told that helps, you want to use a very dense hammer. So I have a semi-dense hammer, and you're going to see the results of the stamping from that. This is the ball peen hammer. I mean, it's a decent hammer for stamping, but you want something dense and large. The larger and denser the metal of your your hammer and stamp, the better impression you'll get. What I mean by dense is, I think this is made of steel. I'm not sure. I'm just gonna assume it's made of steel. It doesn't say. So steel is good, but with denser metals like brass and lead, when you're striking the stamp onto the metal, whenever you hammer, vibrations get created, and the less vibrations you get, the better control you'll get on your stamp, and the better impression you'll get onto your metals. So a really dense hammer helps with that. A really nice firm stamping block. This is not a stamping block. This is just a anvil connected to a vise. But if you get a standalone stamping block or a lead anvil, that's gonna help really reduce the amount of vibration that occurs. The more vibration you get, the worse your impressions are going to be from your stamping. So you want to make sure you have something that has very little vibrations. Dead blow hammer. This is not a dead blow hammer. This is just a ball peen hammer. Dead blow hammer, like a brass or a lead hammer, and a nice solid firm base that, like, when you bang it, it won't vibrate. Like, even this connected to my bench, it vibrates a little bit. I'm working on getting a better anvil and bench setup. But even with this, it vibrates a little bit. And a lot of this work is feeling out the tools and then seeing what you're able to do. You know, just it's a lot of like tactile feeling based work. So this is what I have for now. This works for my setup and my price, and I'm gonna show you the results we can get with that. So first we're gonna start with I have this is kind of hard to see. It's like a little circular impression stamp, and I have like this cross stamp. So we're gonna clean off our anvil, clean off our metal, and then set it firmly onto the anvil. So we're gonna start with our circle stamp, and then we're gonna add impressions onto the corner. So hold your stamp very firmly, make sure it's steady in your hand, and then hit once. Make sure you have good, make sure you can feel it locked in. Thank you. And then hit a second time to secure the image. It's kind of hard to see, but it's right there. Yeah, there you go. You can see it. That's the impression, and that's a good stamp right there. You don't want to go, like I said, get a feeling for it. You don't want to go too deep, because if you go too deep, you could like puncture the other side of your metal or really fuck up your stamps. So just like get the feeling for it. Like you gotta experiment a few times to see what you like. Get the feeling down. So I'm gonna go another again with the corner. One tap, and then another tap. Okay, there's a good stamp right there too. Let's go the other one, corner. One stamp, second stamp. All right, this one too. Sorry if that's loud too. I know it's loud. Just one stamp, another stamp. And then we have 4 corners on our square, as you can see. Now we're gonna move on to the cross stamp. So like you do, clean off your station. Anytime there, like you want to clean it off because you don't want any like dust or smart particles getting on the bottom of the anvil, because that'll like mess up the vibration. So center it again, make sure it's flat. Take your stamp, make sure you identify the front and the back of your stamp. I'm gonna put that right here. I'm gonna put it on the sides. So one hit, second hit. When you hit it, you're gonna feel like the first time you hit it, you smack it good, you're gonna feel your stamp lock in. That's stamp locking into the metal, and that's when you do the second stamp to get it like really secure. One stamp, two stamp. And again in the middle right here. One stamp, two stamps. And again up here, one stamp, two stamps. Now I'm kind of moving fast, but you really want to take your time with these things. Just to like demonstrate, but you could kind of see the crosses on there. So now we're going to go to the difficult part, which is getting the big stamp. Now the difficult thing with big stamps, with very detailed stamps, this is my logo and a stamp, sometimes it's hard to get a full impression on there. So what you could do is, obviously all the tips I listed before, having a really good hammer, having a really good anvil, little vibration, a good steady hand. You can see even now my hand is a little shaky. You want to have a really steady hand. And then when you're hitting with these, the really detailed stamps, you want to hit once to lock in. See, irony is I hit, it vibrated, it scooted a little bit. So when I do this again, it's going to leave a double impression. So you want to really watch out for those. That's why having a steady hand and a really solid workspace and tools help. And then I'm going to hit it again to lock it in. Yeah, so even with that, that's why with like really finer, really fine print stamps, you want to get all those things I listed before, and it really help the image, because it's really hard. As you can see, like I just barely stamped it, and you could just barely see it right there. So all those things I listed before will help you get your image better. And I don't have all those things right now, so like I said, working with what you got is also really important. So this is our first earring right here, and we have three more steps. We shave off the corners. We're gonna round out the corners, and we're gonna put the hole in for the jump ring. We're gonna create the jump rings, and we're gonna put the earring in there. And then the last step is obviously optional, like polishing and everything. We're gonna get onto that, but let's work onto our other sheet. Oops. So clean off your surface. Clean off your sheet of metal. Make sure it's nice and flat. You don't have anything else on your anvil, or if you have like a stamping block, you don't want to have anything else on it, because other items on it will vibrate. Obviously, we don't want any vibrations. So, starting with our circle stamp, just like before, we're going to place it firmly on there. Make sure your hands are steady. Hit one time, and a second time to lock in. One time, second time to lock in. One time, second time to lock in. One time, second time to lock in. You can see the circles on there. All right, let's do it again with the cross. One time, second time to lock it in. And it really helps when you're making designs. This is kind of free-handed, but when you're making the designs, you want them to be good. Like it comes in handy a lot when you're using, like if you're doing letters or words. You use your scribe to make lines perpendicular and even, and then you make lines to where all your letters will be in place. It's like kind of like how like if you were learning how to write English or learning how to write like a new language, and you have to like draw all your letters into those lines. That's kind of what it's like. You want to create that for yourself. But like I said, I'm freehanding this, and I'm not using anything that needs like super precise measurements. So it's not that serious. One, second time to lock it in. One, second time to lock it in. Once, second time to lock them in. We got the cross impressions on there. Now let's put the sign on there. Like I said, this is always the hardest stamps. Your hardest stamps are going to be your most detailed stamps. So let's see if I can get a better impression right now. Always make sure your stamps are upright, facing the right direction. They usually add a little bevel on one side to show you what direction your stamp is facing. So this is indicating that it's pointing towards the bottom. Once, second time to lock it in. See, that one was a little better, but still. But that's that part done. So now that we got both of the stamps on our two rectangular earrings, we're good with that step. So the next step is going to be filing down the edges. So let's put away all our tools that we don't need. We're not going to need the stamps anymore, so let's put those away. It really helps to just clean as you go, put away all your tools, because there's been so many times where I've like been doing work and haven't been organizing while I go, and then it's so hard to find things. So always organize as you go. Before I move to the next step, let's drink some more water. I always want to drink some more water. Make sure you guys got water, you're drinking it too. Right now I'm listening to New Socks by BSDU. BSDU is awesome. They do a lot of remixes on like normal rap songs. BSDU, just like that. Okay, so now we got our two pieces of metal. I'm gonna turn this vise around so that the bench pin is facing me. Lock it in, lock it back in place again. Clean up our workshop. Put up our tweezers. We're not going to eat those. We're not going to eat the wooden hammer or wooden mallet. Put that up. I'm going to keep the ball peen hammer out because I might do texturing at the end. I'm still haven't decided. I'm going to put up our reference piece of metal. Just put that away. Okay, now let's move on to the filing. So filing is pretty straightforward. It helps to have some nice sturdy gloves because the gloves help keep the grip on your file. So I'm going to throw the gloves back on. And I'm going to start with a large file. All files have different file sizes. Like it depends on like how coarse they are, the grit, and how far the lines are spaced upon each other. Like you can see this file is a lot different from this file. And I have a few more files. You'll find yourself buying like a lot of different versions of the same tool because like you need very intricate tools that are very similar. Like I have like almost 7 different hammers. Don't even ask me how many files I have. So For a rounded corner, for rounded corners, the easiest way to do that is file the corner straight down. Let me see if I get a little closer. Yeah. So I'm gonna file the corners straight down first. So just with a sharp edge on your file, just go straight down. When you're filing, you don't want to go back and forth. You want to go in one direction and just keep that one directional movement. It helps save your tools better, and it helps the grain of your metal. Or go forward, you know? So determine how much shave you want on your corner. So you can see this is already a little flattened. Now I'm going to round it out. So for that, I'm just going to pull it and slightly change the direction. Yeah, look at that already. So that's a rounded corner right there. All right, let's do the other one. I'm going to file down the top part too. These corners are still a little like flat, so I'm going to round them out a little bit more. When you start working with jewelry, it's all very difficult and daunting, but it really helps when you think about it like making clay shapes or forms. Like when you understand the basic forms of things, you will understand how your tools work, and then you understand how to achieve those forms with your tools. Like it's really basic shapes that make beautiful stuff with metal, like stars, hearts, circles, like a square. I'm using a basic rectangle to make a beautiful piece of jewelry, and it's just really simple things that you could do to your metals that add huge accents, like the stamping, the discoloration. I probably won't keep this color profile, but this is like a heat treated copper profile. And like, of course, the rounded out corners is all these things that add little accents that add a lot to jewelry. So it's like learning the small things first when it comes to metalworking. So like I said before, kind of just pulling and rounding around those corners. As you can see, that very quickly creates a rounded corner. You want to make sure you have like really good tools. I mean, I have a lot of cheap tools, and that's not good. Really quality tools will make your work faster, and you'll have to spend less time wondering why something is messed up, because it definitely won't be the tools. Always, I get a lot of my tools from Amazon. The main place you want to buy your tools is Rio Grande. It's a jeweler's website. It's amazing for tools. But I get a lot of my stuff on Amazon right now. And if you're buying from Amazon, you really want to make sure your products are American, German, Japanese. Unfortunately, a lot of the stuff that comes from China is like not great tools. I have a lot of tools that I bought that are like Chinese. No shame against the Chinese, bro. I appreciate everything that they do for us. Yeah, but a lot of the tools just are really poorly made, and a poor quality tool will really keep your work. It'll keep you from progressing as an artist, especially in jewelry making. So, as you can see, we have the rounded out corners. We just want the basic profile. A lot of the finer details will be in our last stage of polishing. So that's our basic copper earring shape. So let's move on to the next one. All right, same thing. Round out those corners. Move that copper with you and make sure you're swiping downwards. Right now, I'm listening to Down in Brazil by Michael Franks. Beautiful artist that my mother put me onto. incredible artist. This is his acoustic version of Down in Brazil. So if you search it up, make sure you search it up on YouTube and find the acoustic like version that he performs, because it's like so much better than the produced version. Okay, let's round up those corners. All right, we got 2 corners down, nice and rounded. Let's get these corners. This corner is a little stubborn, so just keep working with it. Get the top a little bit. All right, 3 rounded corners. Let's get this last one. Use your bench pen, you know, kind of just like get in there. Like I said, it's really like a feeling for this, so just like find where your comfortable spot is and like really work on it. There's a lot of tools you can get to help with this process. I forgot what this thing is called, but it's like a clamper, and you could just clamp a piece right there, and then you could slide. You have this wedge piece. Let me find it right here. This wedge piece right here, and you could slide that in there, and that helps so it's like secure while you're working. I don't like using this thing a lot. I like really using my hands, but this really comes in handy for certain projects. Like I said, I don't really like using it, but for stuff like this, I'd just like rather use my hands. But like I said, find your tools, find what's comfortable for you, find a comfortable way to replicate certain tasks to make them easier. Like that's what we did, and I learned a lot of these skills I learned in like culinary school, and working culinary is a lot of the same things. Like you want to get all your tools in order, your mise en place, get all your ingredients in order, get in order a system that lets you best replicate a dish. It's the same with jewelry. Get together a system that lets you best replicate your piece or your piece of art. So we got these all nice and rounded out. They're flat. It's really hard to see the impressions on them because of the camera quality and because of the fire stain that's on them. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna imprint holes. Sorry, make sure it's the right way. We're gonna put holes into these, and we're gonna put the jump rings on there. So to punch holes, you're gonna want to need a nice pointed tool. I use my scribe tool. You could even just use a nail, just something with a nice sharp point. I've even done this with just like nails before. And you're gonna find your center, or not the center, but so I'm putting the jump ring at the top. So I'm gonna locate the top, press it deep in there, and we make sure if you're hammering with a scribe to get a hole. Obviously, you could just drill it too. Drilling is gonna be easier, but I'm just trying to show you the easiest, the cheapest method. So imagine if this was a nail. I'm using a scribe. You just want to hold it down there just like you're stamping, and you want to stamp or like hole punch onto like a soft or wooden surface, because if it's something like metal mallet, it's gonna dent the sharpness of the punch. So yeah, just like I had before, take it, make sure you're nice and steady, and I'm gonna hit the top a few times. As you can see, you get a nice hole right there. Let's do the second one. Make sure you're upright. It's so annoying if you get a hole at the wrong place. And then two holes. So the thing about hole punching with a scribe or a nail is when you dent, you get this protruded part right here. You see that little protrusion? And that's the downside to punching with nails as opposed to just drilling it. But I'm gonna show you how we can fix this. So you can see they're like slightly dented. I'm gonna take my wooden mallet and I'm gonna hit it, flatten it out a little bit, but I'm not gonna flatten out the hole. I'm not gonna hit where the hole is because I don't want the metal to go back into the hole. So just a few strikes to get it nice and even again. As you can see, I'm not hitting the hole. Same thing over here. Just hit it a few times, get it nice and even. So now we have two flat pieces of our copper with our holes on top. And it's kind of hard to see the holes. But now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go through with a needle point diamond drill bit. As you can see, any of these will work. This one back here will work. This one in the middle right here will work. Anything that's like needle like sharp, so I could stick that in there. I'm actually gonna use this one that I was already using. And yeah, okay, so I'm gonna move over to the rotary machine to show you how to fix these holes. But like I said, if you didn't have a rotary machine, you could also just use a file. You can use a sharp point file right here. This is a diamond coated file, and just go in that hole and just keep twisting. And you're just gonna keep twisting. You can twist back and forth, and that's gonna, as you can see, that's gonna widen out your hole, and it's gonna make it easier to put the jump rings in there. So this is what you could do with a file, and just keep twisting like back and forth. And then you go on the other side a little bit, get it in there, twist it. But that's the file method. But I'm gonna use a rotary tool. A rotary tool, you can use a Dremel. The best thing you could get is it's called a Fordham flex shaft. It's like $600, but if you really want to get serious about this kind of craft, it's the best investment. It's an investment that I'm working on to get as well. So let's move over to the bench polisher. So this is the bench polisher right here. Right now it has my brass head attachment. This brass scrubber attachment, you can see it's like hard brass thing sticking out. This is really good for polishing and taking off the fire stain. I can show you a little bit of that right now. I'm going to slightly put myself on mute because this is a very loud machine. So you hit the safety switch and there'll be like a red dot. See that it's on. Always pay attention to that because you don't want this thing to be on and then you accidentally touch it and then you like get something caught in there. So really pay attention to any power tool. Make sure your focus is 100%. I'm going to put my gloves back on. The brass head is not too bad. Like you could touch it. You could even be like scraped by it. It's not too bad, but you always want to be safe. And every head it will tell you is a maximum operating speed, maximum RPMs. I believe this one is like 4,500. Yeah, you can see right there. So always observe the max RPM of your tool, and always observe the max RPM of your machine. This machine, this bench polisher right here, it goes up to 10,000. So 4,000 will be like somewhere in the middle point. So I'm gonna make sure I don't exceed that so I don't ruin the brass head. Always pay attention to your tools. Always perform maintenance on your tools. It's gonna make your job a lot easier. And like I said, when I turn this thing on, my focus will 100% be on this machine because you don't want your focus to be anywhere else while you're using power tools. So right now it's probably about like 3,500 RPMs, and that's like a steady. You want to make sure with this machine too, this setup is not what you want. This is just what I'm able to do right now. Learn through my mistakes. We need to make sure with this machine, it has a place where you can bolt it in. You want to bolt it into like a surface so it stays nice and steady. Mine doesn't stay steady, it shakes a lot, and that's not good. You don't want that. Don't do that. You'll see how it like shakes and moves. But right now I'm just feeding the copper in there, going in rotational motions, and you can already see how the finish is changing. Now watch what happens when I do the whole thing. You also want to watch out. Make sure this is called a drill chuck attachment. Make sure they're very firmly connected to your base of your machine. You don't want anything flying off like you just saw right there. That's really bad. So let's make sure that's nice and secured. Okay, let's get back to it. And once you get most of the copper off, most of the fire stain, as you can see, like a lot of it is off right now, is giving a different appearance. Once you get a lot of it off, you want to start like pushing it back and forth, because the way that these scratch onto the metal is going to leave a bunch of scratch lines, and scratch lines are a lot easier to fix if they're all going one direction. So think of it like kind of like if you're cutting meat and you want to cut against the grain. It's very similar concept. So like as you can see, I'm going back and forth. Be very careful, guys. Be very careful. Sometimes you gotta take off your gloves to like give yourself more control. Make sure you know your tool and know like how much like hand flesh to tool interaction you could have. Like I said, I could touch this and I know I'm good. So obviously don't touch your tools while they're running, but like if you have a good understanding of what you're working with, it's a lot easier. I'm moving it back and forth because this middle part is being a little stubborn. So I'm moving back and forth to get that middle part, and then I'm just going to keep up and down. So this is what it looks like when you have a brass polished copper. So the thing about polishing and grinding and filing, you got to think about it like this. Every single thing has a grit. A grit is the amount of like the amount of resistance on a thing. Like sandpaper can be anywhere from like 40 grit. 40 grit means that there's really big pieces of like material in the sandpaper that are going to scratch a lot. So really, really scratchy is like 40 grit. And then you have something really fine like 5,000 grit. I actually have some examples. So these are my filing brushes for like really fine polishing. As you can see, this one is 1500. It's really, really fine for like rubbing things against. And this one is like as low as I have right now is 80. So you can see that it's really rough. So when you're working on things, everything has a grit to it. Even your fingers have a certain grit to it. That's why like if metal is polished super duper finely, you're not supposed to touch it with your hands. That's why like jewelers touch it with gloves, like really, really, really fine, soft gloves. I have some of those gloves. Like as you can see, like these gloves are a certain grit. They're like they're sticky, so you're able to hold things better. So if I'm like working with like really, really fine polishing, I wouldn't use these gloves. I'd use something like these. You see, these are a lot softer. They're felt and they're kind of dirty because I polish things with them. But these are a lot softer and they're not going to mess up the metal as much when you're really getting into that super high polish. And like I said, it's all like different textures and looks. So you don't have to like go into like the highest polishing. And really high polish, like mirror finish polishing is like, can be very take a long time, and you need good tools to make it happen fast. So just find something that works for you. And this right here is what I like. It's pretty polished. You can almost see the mirror, like right there. That vision is the camera that you're seeing. So it's almost a mirror polish. You can see my finger in it. It's decent. I'm going to polish this more, but that's going to be in another video. Right now, I'm going to hit the back, and I'm going to hit the other earring, and then we're going to work on making the jump rings and connecting the earring to finish. So let's get the back. Same thing. All right, so that's our first polished piece. So this is gonna be the end result. I gotta put the jump ring and the earring in there, of course. I'm liking this flat profile I have. It's really nice, but I'm thinking I want to round them out a little bit more so they look like shields. So I'm gonna finish the second earring, and then I'm gonna show you how to round them out. So this is the second one. You see it's like all muddy and everything. So we're going to get started on this piece right now. I'm just going to go get some more water and use the bathroom real quick. Hey, Debbie, real quick. You gotta go somewhere? Oh, fuck! See if you can bring them over afterwards.
Yeah, hopefully.
Okay. get back to polishing. Just want to get all my ducks in order. Right now, I'm listening to, what song is this? Wait, I actually want to change my playlist a little bit. Sorry, I'm just trying to get my music together. Right now, I'm listening to Benny the Butcher and Boldy James. This is Weekend in Paris. Weekend in the Paris. It's a really great song. Always when you're listening to songs by Alchemist or Boldy James, try to find the alternate intro because they're like way better. Sorry, sneeze. And let's drink some water, everybody. Stay hydrated, especially when you're working with like a lot of chemicals and stuff. You want to stay hydrated. When you're working with power tools, you want to stay hydrated and focused so your mind is keen. Also, a thing I forgot to mention, whenever you're leaving your station to use a bathroom or whatever, always make sure your power tool is turned off because you don't ever want this. Once this red dot is activated, all this has to do is just turn. So you get a lot of situations where you thought this was off and then you actually turn it and then you got a running power tool, and that's not good if you're not using it. Never have a power tool activated if you're not actively using it. That's why it's off right now. Odd, focused. See, these stubborn parts right here, you can see it's kind of like darkened in this area. That's fire stain. That's what you want to watch out for when you're soldering, or not soldering, annealing and soldering too. Anytime there's flame on a metal, you want to watch out. And that's why you want to like evenly distribute your torch, because if you leave your torch in one area for too long, you're going to get fire stain. And fire stain is like hard to get out sometimes. And you want to always make sure when you're polishing too, always start at the lowest grit. Brushes, brass head brushes and stuff like that are always going to be low grit because they're obviously very spiny and sharp. You want to start at the lowest grit to scratch off as much material as possible, or as much material as you need to get a clean piece. Like you don't want to scratch off too much material, but you want to scratch off all the fire stain, all the other like stuff, things that will get on it. Start with a really, really low grit and work your way up. That's the best tip for polishing. Start at a low grit and work your way all the way up. And the lower grit you start at and the highest grit you go to, and each time you take with the grit will be another layer of polish. So always start at a low grit. But right now we're just gonna like remove all the material. At another video, the next live stream, I'll take you through polishing, like high polish. So I'm working back and forth, going up and down to like get that fire stain out. Make sure your tools are security people. I'm doing a very poor job at that. Okay, so that took a little bit of time, but as you can see, we now have 2 polished square ingrain flats. Yay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to shape these. We're going to shape them into like shield shapes. So let's do that. Sorry, let me fix my camera. Okay. Power tool is off. I'm cleaning my bench up.
Do you have any pens?
Girl, come on. I haven't in a long time.
I know, I think you usually have like a bullet full.
I know. I haven't been a season in a while. All right, so we have our rounded tool. This rounded tool is part of a ring bender tool. So if you have a ring bender tool, you'll get these rounded out elements, and then you'll get like the mandrel elements. There's a bigger tool for this. I'm not sure what it's called. I'll link it in the description, but it comes with like a bunch of slots, so it's just easier to bang stuff in. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna loosen our vise. And we're going to close the vise up on this little tool. Get it nice and steady. Make sure it's nice and secure. You don't want this jumping around at all. Yeah, nice and steady. So we got this nice rounded aspect. We're going to set one of our earrings in there so it's nice and center. And then we're going to use our rubber mallet our wood mallet and our wood mandrel. I can't find it right now. Where is my mandrel? This is why it helps to keep everything organized so you're not looking for things. Oh yes, it was just near my hammers. So this is my wood mandrel. This is my wood mallet. And what we're gonna do is very carefully place the mallet.
Okay. Right here.
Okay. Oh.
Thank you.
Guys, I'm sorry. Look at this. Wow.
Yeah.
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 A lot of people are missing out right now.
Support my guy.
Support.
Support my guy.
Support. Support. Oh, that's for me. Look at her. Support the craft. I love you.
I love
Have
you.
a fun time.
Thank you.
You smell good too.
Thank you.
So center your piece. Have your mallet center. Make sure it's not like shaking or anything. Make sure it's even, and then you want to bang very carefully. And like while you're banging it, move it up and down. And it's gonna very slowly take shape. So be very careful. Don't bang. Every time you bang a few times, like look at it. See? We're gonna get a little bit more round on there. So I'm gonna start from the bottom. And turn it around a little bit. There we go. Got a rounded shape. All right, let's see the other one. Make sure you're always hitting the back because you want to round out the shape that you're not displaying. So make sure you always, very small tip, but you want to pay attention. I've messed that up before. Start from the smallest part of the mandrel. Make sure it's centered. All right, now we got two curved earrings. You want to be really careful how you bang because you can see like the curve is a little bit off on there. So let me just try to fix that. And copper is just sturdy enough so you could like squeeze it a little bit. But there are two shaped earrings. So now let's move on to the final step of our project, which is making the jump rings and the hole bigger. So we're good with this. This can go. Store that back up. And let's start with our jump rings. So I'm going to use this copper wire. I believe it's at 16 or 18 gauge. And then I'm going to get my pliers, my round nose pliers, the thinnest round nose pliers I have. You could also use 6-step pliers, which have 3 or 6 different widths of mandrel. I don't know how to call that, but you can adjust how big you want your jump rings. I want decently small jump rings, so I'm just going to use the the round nose pliers. So I'm going to straighten out my wire. This wire is pretty malleable. Copper is pretty malleable. Silver is pretty malleable too. Sterling silver can get a little bit harder, but it's all good. We can work with it. So we're just going to slowly turn that around the bottom of the wire until we get 4 loops. We got 2 right now. Let's do 2 more. Do 5 just to be safe because I'm only going to need 2 of these jump rings, but you never know. Like, want them to be the best jump rings. So there you go. I got my spiral. You see the spiral right there? I twisted around the round nose plier. Now I'm going to get my cutting pliers. Put the round nose back. And I'm going to take out my tweezer pliers. So I need those later. And you want to cut the end holding it to the other wire. Put your wire up. And now we have this coil. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your tweezers and just cut from the first line. And that'll give you jump rings. So here's one. You usually never keep the first one because it's like the one that's the most wide. But always keep your scraps. Copper scraps are good. And then let's cut some more. Okay, so we got 3 good jump rings. Like I said, we only obviously need 2, but it's good to have as many as you can. Keep the rest for scrap. So now what I'm going to do is just slightly flatten out these jump rings. Flip it over. One flat jump ring. All right. Oh shit! I actually knocked that one down to the ground. So let's make 2 more. Flip it around. And as you flatten it, the ends are gonna get a little bit wider. So we're gonna need to adjust that in our holes in our earrings. So let's do this one. Back. All right, now we have our 2 flat jump rings. Awesome. So now we're gonna make these holes wider, and what we're gonna do with that, we're gonna use the our rotary tool. All right, so let me just assemble it real quickly. I'll show you the assembly process. So right here I have it's a bench polisher rotary tool combined. So you could take one of these off. We'll take this off. Make sure it's off when you're operating. It's off. Whenever you're removing a tool, definitely make sure it's off. Put that back, and then take the chuck off. And then I'm going to attach my rotary component. This is my rotary shaft attachment. So you just want to insert it right here, and then you're going to make sure all the fixings are in place. So I'm gonna put the bolt in to keep it secure. Okay, and then we're gonna use our needle point diamond file or diamond drill bit, and then we're gonna replace the one in here. I had a sanding component on here earlier, and the sanding component is really good. Here, I'll show you an example. Rotary tool on, focus. So when you punch it, you're gonna have that little indentation. You see that little nipple? And this sanding tool is gonna help us take that indentation off. Just slowly brush up against that nipple just to remove the indentation. So it only takes a few swipes. Done. We get the other one. Cool. Swipes are good. Now we're going to remove this. Turn it off. Always make sure it's off when you're replacing the drill bit. Then I'm going to take my chuck key, locate the hole, and then just very easily remove that. Take this one out, put this one in, lock it up, make sure it's nice and tight. There's no wiggling. You don't want any of your drill bits to wiggle. That's really bad for whatever you're doing. Make sure you have a very firm drill bit. I put the other drill bit up. I put the chuck up. Always put your chuck and key up and your drill bits up because they're so small. It's really easy to lose them. And I've definitely lost more than a few, so always put them up after you're done. And then look, I have the pointed needle attachment, and I'm gonna turn it on. Oh, turn my tool on, and I'm also gonna grab what is it? Where are you at? I'm gonna grab a little bit of burr wax. Right here, what I have is Burr Life Pepe Lube. Pepe Lube is great for buying tools, materials off of, and this lube helps you coat your drill bits in your lube, and it helps with the friction, and it helps keeping your tools sharp for longer. Because if you're drilling dry, if you're doing anything dry, it's gonna fuck up your tools and it's gonna mess up your piece. So you definitely want to keep things as lubricated as possible. So I'm gonna turn this really low. You don't need it really high. Just stick it a few times in your burr wax, and then I'm just really slowly gonna go into this hole just a few times. see it from the side. See how it's just entering the other side? All I'm doing is just going there a few times just to widen out the hole. So you definitely don't want to force it in there. Just put it in there a little bit, take it out, put it in the other side a little bit, take it out. You want to be firm but gentle. Because you don't want to like strip your tools. You don't want to strip your drill bits or anything. I'm just trying to get that hole wide enough. So you can see it's pretty wide now. I think the jump ring should be able to fit through. So now we're going to do the other piece. Put your stuff in bird life. And just slowly go in and out. Just making that hole slightly bigger. Let your tools do the work. You don't have to be forceful. You can let your tools do the work. That's perfect. So now I'm going to turn my tool off. Turn it off. And then let's put the keys back. Always put your drill bits back after you finish using them. You don't ever want your rotary tool to be hanging with a thing on there. That's a really good way to mess up your drill bits. Like scratching the floor or scratching other surface. Always take it out when you're done. Put it back in. Put my chuck key back in there so all my stuff is in one place. So now we're done with the rotary tool. We can move on to our final steps. Alright, so now I got my 2 earrings. I got my 2 jump rings. Now I'm just going to get 2 earring hooks. If anybody is still watching, it would be super awesome if in the comments you told me your favorite part of this journey so far. It's the first episode of this series, and I plan to do this series for a very long time, as long as my body is willing, and I'm so blessed to have any of and all of you watching. I really do appreciate every single person. So I'm just going to use my pliers to open up the jump ring a little bit. Slip the jump ring into the hole. And then put the earring on. There we go. That's one. Let's get the other. All right, got one. There we go. And that's it. That's it, everybody. So now we have 2 complete copper shield earrings with imprintations on them. Now what you could do, take this a little bit further, what I usually do, obviously besides like high polish, is there's this stuff, it's called liver sulfur. Liver sulfur works on anything that has ferrous elements in it, anything that has iron in it, and copper has iron in it. So it's going to react with the copper and add like darkening elements. So you could take that, dip it in a paintbrush, and just wipe it on these stamps that I made, and it helps like darken them, give them more like texture and stuff. But we're going to do that in another video. Let's see what they look like on. Sorry, let me just adjust my camera. Alright, let's see what they look like inside. Sorry, it's sometimes hard for me to find my earring hole. There we go. Look at that. Another thing you want to do, you want to make sure you put like your hook in the right way, because that's gonna obviously change the way that it displays itself. But you can see right there, very cute earrings. It's a lot cuter up close when you can actually see the details and stuff. But copper actually goes really, really well with dark skin. I have another one of these earrings I'll show you. There's the flat earrings that I made, so I can show you an example. So you can see these are the other ones I made. There's a flat copper piece right there, and another flat piece right there. Yeah, you see, you get the flat profile, and then you have the curved profile. Like I've been trying to emphasize, there's a lot of options and exploration in this art, and every art is about discovering yourself through the process, discovering the world through the process, discovering other people through the process. It's a journey of empathy, understanding, and open-heartedness and open-mindedness. Like I truly believe the best artists are open-hearted, open-minded people. Doesn't mean they're always nice, but it's your ability to, like I said before, the connectedness of all things. The more you're able to see the connectedness of all things, the more you're easily able to empathize, and the more you're able to empathize with people who are different from you, the better understanding you get on this world, and the better understanding you get about yourself. And when you have a good understanding of yourself, I think that's when the best art is made. For me personally, the highest point of my art came when I like truly discovered myself and spent a lot of time into reinforcing myself, refining myself. I'm still going through that process, and this art is helping me with that. The ability to like mold this world, mold hard elements, hard metals with your hands into works of art is a testament to what I was saying before with the fatalism and self-determination. It's like right now I have these hard concepts of fatalistic philosophy existing in my head, like everything is written, and that is such a high point of perception next to God. But here on this level, I'm able to form metal, form this world into art. And I'm only able to do that with the power of my family, the power of my friends, and the power of people I don't even call friends, like acquaintances, enemies, whatever you want to call it. All of that helps me interpret this world and interpret myself so that I could be a catalyst, I could be a beacon for whatever is beyond. Call it God, call it Yahweh, Jah, whatever you want to call it. By being connected to myself, I can act as a fine catalyst. The line from Yahweh, Jah, God, to me, to art, to you, to all of us, back at me, and just like a circle. All those things are flowing, and the flow is better secured when you are in tune. That's the lessons I wanted to share today. We're just approaching 3 hours on this live stream. I really deeply appreciate everybody that was a part of this journey, the first episode in this series that will go a very long time. I am planning to document as much as I can about my life, about my work, about my experiences, and share them to whoever will find them helpful. If even just listening to me talk helps, then I'm here to do that. You just yap so you can think about something else. I'm here, whatever service you need. And future upcoming episodes are everything's going to be very different. I mean, I spend a lot of time in my workshop, but I spend a lot of time outside of the workshop doing yoga and like practicing and running and sword arts and all that stuff. So everything that I can include into this journey, I will. And the next few days are going to be a little bit different because I'm going to be away from my studio, But I will still be creating. I'll still be talking and trying to help whenever I can. So, like I said, I really appreciate everybody who could be here and experience this with me. And I want to go as far as I can with this, and I want to take everybody who wants to come with me. We're all going on journeys, and I could just hope that I could take my family and my friends on a similar path as me. This has been Djinn. Um, if you're looking for the YouTube, follow this YouTube, DjinnBazaar. The YouTube that this video will be on is not my main YouTube. I'm just releasing this video on this YouTube, this live on this YouTube. But all future lives are going to be at this DjinnBazaar right here. My IG is where you can find all my pictures. I'm still working on a soft launch and getting my jewelry up there, so work with me. It's gonna be a slow process. Maybe by the beginning of next year, I'll have everything released on my Instagram. But like I said, it's a journey, and I'm just so happy to have you all with me. Thank you all once again. I hope you have beautiful days. And one last water. Let's drink. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it.